ready to ride? One by one, billion by billion, they're holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not, time for a girl. Break free of history. This train is racing straight ahead. No man can do like I can. I'm the queen of the land. Haters gonna hate. Won't be sorry now. Shoot me down, but I'll rise again. I'm laying down the law and you've been served. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not, time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not, time for a girl on time.
Hair brown, eyes blue, height approximately 5 foot, weight 120 to 140. If you guys know anything or see anything about T Rev's mom, please reach out to T Rev. There's what his mom looks like, guys. That's T Rev's mom. She's missing. She's been missing for a year. So let's get the word out and help T Rev find his mom. Okay, I'm going to be dropping the link for Sophie and Rock Chalk. And here's our first video.
Today, a federal task force is announcing a series of arrests involving a drug trafficking organization operating in Los Angeles.
KTLA 5 Samantha Cortese joining us live in studio with details. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Lou and Glenn. This is a huge international takedown. Authorities say these criminals imported and exported drugs throughout the U.S. and Canada by way of Southern California cities.
The FBI and local law enforcement arrested alleged members of a massive, sophisticated criminal drug trafficking organization spanning 3 countries.
Drug suppliers connected to cartels in Mexico, drug distributors and brokers in Los Angeles, Canadian truck drivers and a network that exported drugs into Canada, and even an associate of the Italian mafia in Montreal, Canada.
The alleged kingpin, Gumarant Sidhu, a Canadian national. The FBI says he would purchase kilos of meth from cartel suppliers in Mexico and Los Angeles, then operated a network of truck drivers who would move the meth into the U.S. and Canada. Since the investigation began in 2022, authorities seized 845 kilos of meth, 951 kilos of cocaine, 20 kilos of fentanyl, and 4 kilos of heroin.
A kilogram of methamphetamine in Canada can sell for 20 times more than it would sell in Los Angeles. These conspirators stood to make tens of millions of dollars.
The haul was worth between $16 and $28 million in the U.S. Investigators also seized weapons and cash. The agencies stressed cooperation to take down these crime rings.
Transnational organized crime networks are becoming more sophisticated and operate without regards to our international boundaries and bring illicit drugs that devastate the most vulnerable people in our communities, those that are addicted to substances.
In Los Angeles, 30 search warrants were served simultaneously. LAPD says 19 people have been federally indicted in California. 12 conspirators are in custody, and many more are on the run.
This is a violent business, and that the folks here are unconcerned with taking life if it gets in the way of their profits.
Maybe you had the same question as members of the media today. They asked if this was tied to the alleged drug-related murders in El Mirage last week. The FBI only said they will, quote, support their partners in their investigation. In the studio.
So how's everyone doing tonight? Rock Chalk?
I'm doing great.
You got anything to mention on the video we just watched?
Well, there's a lot of drug trafficking going on a lot of places, but these videos that you got coming up might show a little bit more of what's going on.
Five people were indicted on federal drug and weapons charges after a multi-state investigation. They're accused of distributing large amounts of methamphetamine and fentanyl throughout southwestern Idaho and eastern Oregon. At a news conference today, U.S. Attorney Josh Hurwitz announced that 98 pounds of meth, about 21,000 fentanyl pills, and 38 guns were seized during the investigations.
The crimes we are discussing today fuel addiction and cause overdose deaths. They can lead to gun violence, and they threaten the wonderful quality of life that we enjoy in Idaho. Today, we are reaffirming our commitment and our efforts to fight back against organized drug trafficking.
According to court records, several of the suspects are believed to be associated with local street gangs with ties to a Mexican cartel. The indictments are part of an organized crime drug enforcement task force focused on stopping high-level drug traffickers, gangs, and money launderers that threaten the U.S.
And fentanyl is everywhere nowadays.
That's for sure. And I would imagine it's all over every dollar bills you get too. Got to be real careful.
Oh yeah, especially with that little baby that passed away a few months ago. Yeah, she was crawling around on the floor of an Airbnb and got exposed to fentanyl, and she died.
Yeah, that's a very sad drug. It seems to be very, very potent.
Yep.
Sophie's here, right? We got Sophie
yeah,
here
Sophie's
too, right?
here.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Sophie.
She might be eating.
No, she's not eating.
You there, Sophie?
It's all right. We have another newscast, right, that we're going to show?
That was the two newscasts. They weren't very long.
Oh, they were quick.
I do have this one. I do have this one right here, though. Not a newscast.
It seems that as we dig deeper and deeper into the November 2022 quadruple homicide that took the lives of college students Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, the picture of what happened on that fateful morning in Moscow,
Please drop
Idaho, becomes less and
crime
less
designs in
clear.
it,
One
please.
question that seems to linger is on
Mods.
the topic of whether there is a possible drug connection here. From the violent and seemingly targeted nature of the attacks to the criminal records of some of the victims' parental figures and even the personal history of our suspect in custody, the topic of drugs definitely shouldn't be taken off the table when it comes to conversations about this case. This is a video I've been waiting to make for a while now, and I've compiled a good bit of research and possible connections to share with you all. The topic of substance abuse and community impact, specifically as it pertains to violent crime, is one I'm really interested in, and I hope you also find this information interesting and relevant to the case. So, to begin our analysis, let's familiarize ourselves with some of the regional and local concerns regarding drug use and trafficking. I'll then touch on victimology and share what I was able to uncover about direct connections to the victims. So sit back, relax, take notes if you're the type, and let's dive into this treacherous topic.
Every single day, somebody's tripping to Utah and bringing back heroin.
The #1 drug problem plaguing state police is trafficked into Idaho communities 7 days a week.
It's becoming more and more frequent.
5 years ago, we were seeing almost none. And
That link's for Sophie.
Right now, it's the biggest problem that we have in Southeast Idaho.
We can see anywhere from users to have the tiniest amounts to the traffickers that have ounces, and up to pounds of it.
It started a couple years ago with small quantity stuff. Started with points, which is 1/10 of a gram. Now it's moved on past that into grams and ounces, and we've seen a couple different.
That better,
where people
Sophie?
bringing in a ½ pound to a pound of heroin at a time.
But where are the drugs coming from? Turns out most are transported into the state from Utah.
The vast majority of the cases that we work is being sourced out of Salt Lake City.
ISP officials say somebody can just drive down to Salt Lake City, buy about a gram of heroin for $50, then drive that same amount back into Idaho and sell it for at least 3 times that amount.
2 hours each way, yeah, so a 4-hour round trip, and they could double their money.
When it comes to heroin trafficking, that's anything more than 2 grams. The number of state lab cases more than doubled between 2015 and 2016. Canyon County seeing the highest rate increase, but falls 4th in the state behind Ada, Bannock, and Kootenai counties.
Zooming into the community where the homicides occurred, the statewide narcotics issue seems to be a local concern as well. But the primary concern in Moscow these days, even more so than heroin or meth, is fentanyl, a synthetic opioid typically used to treat patients with chronic severe pain or severe pain following surgery. According to Moscow PD, there's at least 1 fentanyl overdose per week
Welcome
in
back,
Latah
Sophie.
County on
Welcome back.
average,
Welcome
which has
back.
a
Welcome
population
back.
of about 40,000 for reference. Moscow PD investigated more than 40 fentanyl cases in 2021, significantly more than heroin or meth, and the number of fentanyl cases has increased in recent years. In an effort to help address this concern, Moscow PD added a drug canine to their force in June 2022.
Fentanyl and other illicit drugs are prevalent in our communities, but Moscow police have a new weapon in the fight against drugs, and that's their first ever drug canine. This is Ragnar. He's an 18-month-old lab from the Netherlands, and he may look harmless, but his job is serious business, sniffing out illegal drugs hidden from officers during traffic stops or property searches. His handler tells us the need for a drug canine in Moscow is very real.
Now, let's take a trip about 2 hours north of Moscow to Kootenai County, where Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana all grew up. Maddie and Kaylee both attended school and grew up in Coeur d'Alene. Xana was actually born in Coeur d'Alene and lived about 15 minutes east in Post Falls, Idaho. Kootenai County has a population about 4.5 times the size of Latah County, with about 180,000 residents.
About 2 weeks ago, 5 people died in Kootenai County from suspected fentanyl-related overdoses. Since my last report, an additional 2 more people have overdosed.
The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office says fentanyl is continuously popping up all over the county. For Brandel, the fight has quickly become exhausting. He says he's tired of the community avoiding this conversation. He's tired of people pretending nothing's wrong. And he's tired of the common excuse that it's just a few bad people selling and doing drugs.
You have kids in school, you have soccer moms, you have medical professionals, you have people that they get hooked on it because they had a legitimate medical need for it, they were prescribed it, and then for whatever reason, it kind of spiraled out of control.
He says there's no easy solution. The opioid epidemic can't be solved by law enforcement alone. The solution needs to come from the broader community because right now, the problem isn't getting better, but worse.
So it's pretty much common knowledge at this point in the case that Xana's mother, Kara Northington, also known as Kara Kernodle, has an extensive criminal record, including quite a few drug charges, most of which are in Kootenai County. And if you've been following really closely, you may have seen reports Maddie's stepmother, Corey Hatrock, who also has drug charges in Kootenai County. And notably, she was also represented by Ann Taylor, who was Kara Kernodle's defense attorney, of course, until she became Koberger's defense attorney. So both of these women with direct connections to our victims, Xana and Maddie, were facing serious, and I mean serious, drug charges at the time of the murders in Kootenai County, both being represented by the same public defender who now defends Brian Koberger. So keep that in mind. But we're going to dive a little bit into these charges because there's some really interesting stuff here. And the media hasn't really touched on all of this, but it raises some serious questions. So starting off with Xana's mother, Kara. She was notably arrested on November 19th, 2022, so just a week after the homicides, on 2 counts of possession charges. So under Idaho law, a possession charge under IC 37-2732C subsection 1, any person who violates this subsection and has in his possession a controlled substance classified in Schedule 1, which is a narcotic drug, or a controlled substance in Schedule 2, is guilty of a felony and upon conviction may be imprisoned for not more than 7 years or fined not more than $15,000 or both. While this is a serious charge, a possession charge is much less severe than a possession with intent to deliver charge, which Kara caught in Nez Perce County in August of 2021, also accompanied by another possession charge. And this specific charge reads as follows: it is unlawful for any person to manufacture or deliver or possess with intent to manufacture or deliver a controlled substance. A person who violates this subsection with respect to a controlled substance classified in Schedule 1, which is a narcotic drug, or a controlled substance classified in Schedule 2, is guilty of a felony and upon conviction may be imprisoned for a term of years not to exceed life imprisonment or fined not more than $25,000 or both. Now, this August 2021 case, which was the possession with intent followed by another possession charge, is actually still pending. And check this timing out because it just gets weirder from here. It looks like Kara changed her plea to guilty for this charge on September 13th, 2022. She was supposed to be sentenced on November 17th, 2022, just 4 days after the murders, but she failed to show up for the hearing, and it doesn't look like she's been sentenced to this day. But needless to say, Kara is facing some serious jail time. From what I can tell, Idaho is very strict in terms of minimum sentences for drug crimes, and there may be some concerns regarding habitual offender. Under Idaho law, if a defendant is convicted of any felony for a third time, either in Idaho or outside of the state of Idaho, the sentence on the third conviction is a period of incarceration of 5 years to life. So there's that extra caveat to worry about. She's facing some serious time with these 3 possession charges and the more severe possession with intent charge. So obviously I wish her the best, and I hope that she can get the help that she needs to turn her life around.
Well, hey, Heath, the place is looking great. How are you settling in?
It's going well. I love being a new homeowner. Thanks.
Moving on to Maddie's stepmom, Corey Hatrock. She married Maddie's dad, Ben Mogan, in August 2020. And as I mentioned, some folks online have made connections to her recent drug charges out of Kootenai County, noting the odd timing as it pertains to the homicides. So stick with me here. Corey was sentenced on November 7th, 2022. This is the Tuesday before the murders, and it looks like she took a plea deal. So back in June of 2022, she was charged with 3 counts: a possession charge, possession with intent to deliver, and a drug paraphernalia charge. She remained out on a $15,000 surety bond until her sentencing. At her November 7th hearing, it looks like she pled guilty to the less severe charge of possession, and the other two charges, including the more severe that intent to deliver charge, were both dropped. As a result, Hat Rock received a 3 to 4 year sentence in state prison. It's also worth noting that Hat Rock was only 1 month into a 2-year unsupervised probation when she caught these charges, stemming from a March 2022 drug paraphernalia charge that she pled guilty to in exchange for no jail time. So that may be a reason they handed her a stiff sentence despite her guilty plea. So why does any of this matter? And it might not, but here are some facts that you're going to have to rationalize. Time of the quadruple slaying, both Kernodle and Hat Rock were in the process of or just accepted a plea deal with Kootenai County prosecutors pertaining to drug possession with intent to deliver. 2. In Hat Rock's case, she was able to get both the drug paraphernalia charge and the much more severe charge of possession with intent to deliver, both dropped despite having been on probation at the time. 3. It is a known fact that prosecutors will oftentimes offer deals to a defendant that could help them in another case. For instance, they can offer a deal to someone who, though guilty, is prepared to give testimony about a co-defendant or help resolve some other unsolved case. 4. Per documents filed by Koberger's defense, we know there is a possibility of an informant in this case. 5. Kara told Ashley Banfield at News Nation that she believed that Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodle, changed the locks on Xana's bedroom just 1 week before the homicides. Are these all coincidences? Is it possible that during these plea bargaining negotiations, information was disclosed that made the wrong person or people angry? We still don't know anything about our nexus from the suspect to the victims or any of the complicated factors that may surround that particular connection, if indeed it does exist. I just have a nagging feeling that these proceedings are important, and I want to know what you think. Does any of this shine light on a possible nexus? Is it possible this crime was committed in retaliation or to send a message or even silence somebody with information? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you for part 2 of this analysis, where we will explore some other aspects of a possible drug connection in this case.
Well, what do we all think?
Wow. It's hard to watch, to be honest. It's so sad.
It is really hard to watch. And I wanted to say something I see in the chat. We're not saying that there was a drug connection as far as inside the 1122 house. We have no idea if there was or wasn't. That's not what that that clip was about. It's about maybe family members having some connection to some drug charges because they've been arrested for it. So when I seen somebody in the comments, I'm not going to call them out. We are not saying that there was drug flushed or anything in the house. Nobody would ever know that at this point. We were talking about the parents that have been arrested for drugs.
Yeah. Wayne B's question, was someone moving product out of 1122?
We have no way of knowing it.
Yeah.
But we do have this guy, Jay Embry, that we've been watching a bit. And I do believe we have a couple videos to get to.
Yes.
Maybe he'll draw some light on it. What you think?
Yep. Here we go. Just real quick. I got to get
It's
this
all right.
fixed. Come on.
I was dancing to the music.
I thought
you
it
go.
was going to be a cool
Welcome to-
intro.
Me too.
I am once again your host, Pavarotti, here to bring you information on the Idaho 4 case. Now, as always, As a disclaimer, this channel is for entertainment purposes only. These are my opinions, not here to slander anyone. And with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so today I want to discuss a few different topics. One major topic is the video I put out a couple of days ago. And the reason I put that video out. That video was my test to the Idaho 4 community and the other content creators out there to see what their reaction would be to an actual lead. And to say the least, it's been a mixed reaction. And I've learned several things from it. Now, first of all, let me send a shout out to Harsh. Harsh did a very nice video on me, and I appreciate you, Harsh. Harsh has always been one of my favorites. I've said that in previous videos. I like Harsh mainly for his personality that he brings to this topic. It's not usual to have somebody that actually has personality when talking about the Idaho 4 case, and Harsh definitely has it. He also has good information. So now I know Harsh has taken that video down that he did on me, and that's okay. No hard feelings. I'm not going to get mad at Harsh. Now, as far as other content creators out there, there's several of them that I watch consistently that I think are very good. I've mentioned some of them in my previous videos. Open Mind Perspectives, Law Offices of Andrew Myers, Forensic Frenzy. I like A.R. Hayes, and who am I? Oh, Unfiltered Lucky. Got the great questions. And those are a lot of the ones that I watch consistently. But obviously, to be on top of this case, you have to keep your eyes open. So I watch a lot of the other content creators out there. If I haven't mentioned some of them that I watch, I'm sorry. Now, some of them had some rather, let's say, different reactions to my content. And that was what I was really hoping to accomplish. Because we hear this term out there a lot, critical thinking. I'm doing a lot of critical thinking on things. Well, I wanted to see who was really capable of critical thinking. And I also wanted to see who wasn't. And let me give you some examples of some of these content creators and the content that they consistently put out there. One of the examples would be the frat boys. Okay, I see a lot of videos out there suggesting the frat boys did it. Well, folks, let me tell you, I went to college and I had several opportunities to actually get into fights with frat boys. And you know what happened after the fights? Nothing. None of them ever followed me back to my dorm room or my apartment and attempted to slay me and all of my friends. In fact, what happens after frat boys get into a fight, because there's usually alcohol involved, is they talk about it quite a bit until the next day, and then they don't bring it up again because it's over. And that's what happens. They don't go and unalive 4 individuals. And I hear a lot of content put out about the 4 people running in the background of the Banfield video. Okay, well, take a look at what was going on in that Banfield video. You had law enforcement stopping youngsters that was out that had been drinking and were questioning them. And in the background, you see 4 other youngsters that was out probably drinking, seeing other youngsters getting interrogated by law enforcement. And what did they do? They took off running because that's what they do. Hey, let's see if we can get to the frat house before these cops get to us. Okay, now that's critical thinking. That's using common sense, not, oh, they're running away from that house where the atrocities happened. They must have done them. Oh, goodness. Then other content, let's take a look here. They like to talk about the victim's boyfriends. Okay? Talk about slandering some people you don't need to slander. the victims' boyfriends, I'm sure, are going through a lot of pain in this atrocity that happened to their girlfriend and friends. I mean, I can't even imagine. And to suggest they had something to do with it when law enforcement clearly cleared them, you know, law enforcement's not going to clear them if they feel like they may be involved in the case. I don't care if they're crooked or not, okay? But for law enforcement to clear them, that should be enough for everyone, even if you don't believe the law enforcement most of the time, because these are kids involved with these other kids that this terrible thing happened to. So to keep suggesting they had something to do with it, now I would consider that slandering folks and bringing up scenarios that we probably shouldn't bring up, as was suggested about my video. Then we have the cult of Odin. Let's not even going to address that one. Stupid. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the roommates' involvement. Now, I've stated in many of my videos that I believe the roommates had absolutely no involvement in the atrocity. A lot of people think they did. And if you think they did, then you're entitled to your own opinion. I don't think they did. And I think content creators, though, as far as slandering some individuals, I mean, that would be a clear case of it. You know, individuals that they really can't find any logical ties to this atrocity other than the fact that they didn't dial 911 in a certain period of time. That is suspicious. Other than that, that's it. It's just suspicious. And then my favorite, Emma Bailey and Demetrius. People have tried to tie Emma Bailey to Jesse James Bailey, who was a prison guard who was part of a drug trafficking ring out of prison. I doubt he was too involved in that drug trafficking ring since he was working at the prison. And I have friends who are currently prison guards and former prison guards who tell me that it would be rather difficult to have too much involvement in a drug trafficking organization as a prison guard with all of the time that's taken up doing that. However, they will tie this case to that case, even though that case was nowhere near Latah County. And the Emma B. and Demetrius scenario I've explained in the past, there's nothing to suggest they could be involved in this.
Hey, Strange. Hey, AR.
I've looked at the charges of Mr. Demetrius. They're petty crimes. Now, he did have a charge where he delivered a F pill to a kid and he died. That's serious, but it's very hard to convict on that charge. Now, their legislature is trying to change the laws to make that something that they really can convict you on, but they're not there yet. So the other low-level activities of this guy, I've seen nothing that shows me that he dealt in any type of volume, in my opinion, eliminates them from this scenario. And I know a lot of you thought I was talking about them in my last video, and I was not. And I'll explain why here in just a minute. But let's talk about real critical thinking, okay? Let's talk about actual common sense when looking at this case. Let's go back to the beginning. And if you can do this, I would sure like for you to. I'd like for you to eliminate everything you know about this case for just the next 2 to 3 minutes. And let me explain something to you and then see if it's easier for you to grasp. You have a house on 3 different levels with 2 bedrooms on each level. There's a roommate downstairs and an empty room. On the 2nd floor, there's a roommate in a room, and then you have another roommate in a room with her boyfriend staying over for the night. Then you go to the 3rd floor, you have a room that has a dog in it, and the former resident of that room that should be in there actually visiting in town that night, and for some reason she's sleeping in the room to the right with the other roommate that lives there. Somebody comes in, doesn't harm the roommate downstairs, the 2nd roommate upstairs, or the dog in the room on the 3rd floor. They specifically go into One bedroom on the third floor, one bedroom on the second floor, and eliminate the individuals in there. Looking at it from that perspective, anybody with eyes to see and ears to hear would know that the two targets in this house were those two specific rooms. And if those two specific rooms were the target, who resides in those rooms? I don't like to use names, but we know who resides in those rooms, don't we? So the gentleman who was spending the night with his girlfriend didn't live there. Obviously, if the rooms were targeted, they didn't expect him to be there. Or even if they did, they didn't care if he was there or not. He wasn't the target, the other one was. They went upstairs. And even if the young lady that didn't live there anymore was staying there that night, they would have expected her to be in her bedroom with her dog. She wasn't. She was in the room with the other target. So they were all eliminated. Once we established that, and that's the only commonsensical way to establish that, then we have to figure out why it happened. What do we do to figure out why it happened? Well, let's first of all look in the area. Is there any major investigations currently going on in this area? Oh, there is a 4-county drug task force operating in the area. What does that tell us? That there are a lot of drugs, a lot of drug activity going on in this area, or else there would not be a drug task force. Not every area has them, only areas where they're trying to impact drugs. And whenever there's an area with a lot of drugs, things like this happen. So the next logical step would be, do those individuals have any ties to drugs? Looking into their past, can't find any. And I know there's been a lot of speculation that the house was a drug house and maybe was storing drugs. There's nothing that's been verified as it relates to that. It's all speculation. Those two girls had no history of drugs that we know of. So then we go to the next step. Does anybody close to them have a history with drugs? Oh my goodness. One of their mothers and the other one, the mother, stepmother, and the father, both. Okay, well, has anything happened recently with their drug offenses? Oh my goodness. They both had their charges set to come due a few days before this atrocity happened. Oh my goodness, let's look deeper into those charges. Were they actually going to be charged with what they were originally charged with? No, both of the charges had been reduced, even though they had prior convictions. Okay, now the scenario should be clear. They talked, they set somebody up, upper level, and upper level had to send a message. Now, how does upper level send a message? They send the pro out, or the pros. So let's assume that is what happened in this case. They send the pros out to take care of it. Now, how would law enforcement be able to get those pros in a short period of time? Because they didn't have enough time to complete IGG investigations. They couldn't match up DNA on a knife sheath to anybody in their database. It takes time to get back phone records and track down vehicles on cameras. No, they were on to this gentleman early on in the investigation that we found out. And the only way that they could do that is if they had an informant or informants. Now, I've noticed that other content creators who have speculated on my video have suggested the more likely informant would be like the DoorDash driver. Read the documents. They state that these informants' lives may be in danger if their identity becomes known. Who would hurt the DoorDash driver? The YouTube true crime community? The Never Co-Burgers? They would go out and harm this DoorDash driver because they thought he was a witness? Do you really believe the courts and law enforcement believe that? No, this informant is somebody that could be harmed by real people, people in upper level drug trafficking, because what happens to informants in drug trafficking? They are eliminated consistently. It is a rule of the street. And I know you've heard this. So sometimes I listen to these content creators who continue to put out the ridiculous content, and it makes me think, are they truly capable of critical thinking, or maybe has somebody gotten to them and they're only allowed to discuss certain aspects and issues on this case, being the ridiculousness? And that is a possibility, because although nobody's gotten to me yet, I feel like it's coming. And I feel that way because if you go back and look at my videos, go ahead and pull up the comments. I can see them very easily. I don't know if you can or not. Let's see if you can. But as you read through my comments, there will be some that are different than the rest. And they're not short comments, they're extended comments. And they're written in a very specific way, meant to put you in a different direction. They're meant to deter you, to steer you. And I know them when I read them, and I can identify them fairly easily. And if you don't think there is a team somewhere sitting, working the comments in the Idaho 4 case to try to steer the information, well, then you're fooling yourself. Now, take a look at this for just a minute. And if you don't have enough time to read it, as always, it's okay. When it's done, I'm going to read it for you.
Here at Papa John's, we know our stuff. So try our garlic epic stuffed crust pizza, made with our...
Okay, we'll come back to what I had just shown you here in just a minute. So again, the purpose of this video was to put a test out there to see what they would do with a real lead. And let me explain how you come up with a real lead. For a long time, I was waiting to really dive into this informant, okay? I used those Steve G leak texts about 2 weeks ago to dive in really, really hard on the subject. And I really wanted it to hit home, and I believe I did, because I wanted other content creators out there to follow my lead and bring it up and discuss it, and they did. I knew by doing that, it would stir the pot. It would shake the beehive, and it would also pucker up law enforcement in that area to get the informants protected, because they really are in danger. And the way that law enforcement protects informants, you may not understand this, but the best way to protect a criminal informant is by faking charges, arresting them, and putting them in protective custody in the county jail. And you bet they would rather be in protective custody in the county jail than out on the street with real heat on them, because that's about the only place they can really protect them. Now, I believe I did that, and I had been watching the Latah County arrest tickets for the last couple of weeks to see if I could identify a likely informant. And a couple of days ago, I did. And then as I dug in deeper, I went back to the dates of the crime, the atrocity, to see if they had any arrest dates that correlated. And oh, you betcha they did. And all the other red flags that popped up. And if you watched my last video, you know what red flags I'm talking about. And if you want to dig into it deeper, go watch that video again and then really dig into it, because I didn't put out all the information that I had on those individuals. I just put out enough for people that wanted to go start researching themselves. And by doing that, though, I wanted to see the reaction from the Idaho 4 content creators so I could see who was real and who wasn't. And one of the content creators had some interesting words to say about my content and how it may be reckless, and it didn't look like it really involved this case. And their justification of it was those people with those charges, the criminal justice system just lets off all the time. That's how our criminal justice system works. And then they went as far as to equate it with domestic violence charges and why people that should be in jail on domestic violence charges weren't. Okay, so what I showed you a minute ago were Idaho statutes, and it was on number one, domestic violence, and the second one was on drug trafficking. Okay, these are the Idaho statutes. And where do the laws in Idaho? These aren't federal laws, these are Idaho laws. Where do they come from? There's a legislature that everybody votes for that actually goes in and creates laws, votes on them, and puts them into practice. So these are laws from the legislature. The court has to follow the laws from the legislature. All right, that's how our whole justice system works, how America works. It's called democracy, constitutional republic, really. But when you look at domestic violence charges in Idaho, charge number one, up to 6 months in jail, up to $1,000 fine. Charge number three, up to 5 years in prison, up to a $5,000 fine. No minimums. That means even on charge number three, the judge can put you on probation because there's no minimum requirements. He can give you up to 5 years. Typically, they don't. He can give you 6 months. You'll be out in 2 on parole. All right, that's how domestic violence is looked at in the state of Idaho. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I think domestic violence is terrible. I think the laws should be way more harsh on individuals that commit that offense. But the legislature sure doesn't think so, and you have to go by what the legislature thinks, or you have to vote in different people in the legislature. That's how it works. Now, let's look at the drug trafficking charges, though, that I'm discussing in this case. And if you were able to read that, you would see that first offense, drug trafficking for METH, over 400 grams, which is a little less than a pound. These folks had 1.5 pounds on them and were charged with drug trafficking. First offense, drug trafficking for METH, over 400 grams, minimum sentence 10 years, maximum sentence life. You know what a minimum sentence is, folks? That's the lowest amount a judge can sentence them for if convicted on that crime. They can't say, I'll just give you a year on this one. They do not have the power to do that. The legislature does. And what the legislature specifies, the judge has to follow. Minimum sentence, first time offense, drug trafficking, 10 years in Idaho. Second offense for drug trafficking in Idaho, take the first offense and double it. 20-year minimum sentence, maximum sentence, life in prison. So when you see somebody get probation for that charge, or you see somebody get a year for 2 of those charges, well, then there's something rotten in Denmark, ladies and gentlemen. And if you take those individuals, cross-reference them with the dates of the atrocity, you're going to see how easy it is to find their involvement in the Idaho 4 case. And their involvement may be much greater. But with that being said, I wanted to get this video out there. Once again, thank you for those of you that have liked and subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing your comments. Give me all your criticisms because those are my favorite. And until next time, Pavarotti is out.
Pavarotti.
Pavarotti is out.
I like Pavarotti's out. I think it's interesting.
I like it too.
Let's talk about it. What do you guys think?
I think he's got a different take on it.
Yes.
I do know that he's a subscriber to this channel. That's pretty awesome. I like hearing his point of view. It's something different than other people is covering.
It's true.
You know.
And he's leaving little
think he's
breadcrumbs for us.
I'm sorry, Robert.
I said he's leaving little breadcrumbs for us.
He is. I do believe he's LE. I mean, he dresses just like my ex. He wears that white T-shirt underneath his shirts, his mannerisms. But I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see his point of view. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. It's really interesting because we all think so differently. And I would like, you know, we have a drug problem here. We have a drug problem every place. But some of these things are just, it's bigger. It's like some things are so much bigger that I don't have the perspective from just being here, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. Let's start the second one. I'm open. I'm hoping Jay Embry shows up. It'd be
Yeah.
nice. I know
Yeah.
AR's out there. Nice to have a good little
Especially
conversation
when
going on.
especially when he tagged us in his video.
He sure did.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
It ensures you're dealing.
Release from jail.
Glad everybody's here. Glad everybody's watching. Hopefully it's something a little different than you're used to.
Yeah. I like our crew.
Hello. Welcome to the revealing. I am once again your host, Pavarotti, here to bring you information on the Idaho 4 case. As a disclaimer, this channel is for entertainment purposes only. These are my opinions. I'm not here to slander anyone. With that being said, let's get started. Today, I'm going to react to a video, not really a video, I guess it was more like a podcast. So I had one of my commenters suggest for me to watch a podcast by the True Crime Cult, and they had special guest A.R. Hayes on there, and they were discussing my video on the potential informants. Now, A.R. Hayes, not a big fan of mine, and I can appreciate that. I actually like A.R. Hayes. However, I did comment on one of his videos after he posted a comment on one of my videos that wasn't really flattering. You know, he told me to keep my former law enforcement opinions to myself or to some effect of that. So I just suggested that, you know, if he was truly reformed, he would go down to the local police station and confess to all the crimes that he had committed. And then once he had paid his debt to society for all of those, then I would value his opinion. Till then, I couldn't. But I was just really being mean, to be honest with you. I shouldn't have done that. And I actually like A.R. Hayes. And so, A.R., if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. However, it created a great opportunity for Mr. A.R. Hayes to actually prove my case on the potential informant that I brought up the other day. In fact, it was nice to have his opinion be able to solidify it in a way that I don't think I was able to solidify it in. And I brought receipts, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a small excerpt from that True Crime Cult podcast. And they're going to be discussing a furlough of an individual that was furloughed at the time of the atrocity. And they're going to be discussing how furloughs work and how who gets furloughed and how they get furloughed and how they never would ever get furloughed. And then when that's done, I'm going to show you a news clipping from right there in Moscow, Idaho, where I read the initial information on this furloughed individual. And then I want you to see if you see some discrepancies, because what he is about to suggest is going to confirm everything that I said. With that being said, let's hear what they have to say. Pavarotti's out.
I would like to say, just because they did drugs don't mean, or sold drugs, listen, that don't mean they knew each other.
Can I call out the biggest BS of his entire spiel that he went over?
Yes, please.
The furlough. Has anybody ever heard of a furlough by an inmate? Do you guys know what that actually means? Because he doesn't.
Actually,
He doesn't.
around here it happens a lot. Like if a parent dies, but they are escorted. They were escorted usually with the sheriff department, and they're in handcuffs.
Yeah,
But
exactly. So
but Kara was also. I don't know that they called it a furlough, AR, but she also was released for the visual, right?
Chipotle chicken avocado melt, fave. All your favorites, always at Panera.
Am I
No.
thinking right? Because that's what they
No.
were saying.
Kara wasn't released for the visual. She was released on her own recognizance on a signature that she would be on a probationary watch while on release until her next court date. She didn't get
People messed
furloughed.
that up too, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I want to break down a furlough for everybody so you get a better understanding of where this guy is misleading everybody. And trust me, you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with my video later. You really are. It's gonna make you laugh a little. I mean, you're gonna get a kick out of it. Now, I'm not gonna be disrespectful, but you're gonna get a kick out of it because he did not explain a furlough at all correctly. Now, first of all, a furlough is when someone dies, not sick, dies. You cannot be anything more than a low level felony, meaning $10,000 bail or less. It cannot include any drug charges. It cannot include any sexual charges. It cannot include any violent charges. So, petty theft, burglary, robbery, the lower level crimes with the $10,000 or less bail, you can go before the judge and request it. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. You can request it. If the judge deems, okay, this is a serious enough situation, you are escorted by between 3 to 8 officers, typically sheriffs, with a marshal handcuffed, shackled, and belt looped at all times, including at the ceremony. You cannot wear a suit. You cannot wear your own clothes. You show up in a van that is just like the jail van. You get out of that with your entourage. You proceed to watch the ceremony, and you get back in and you leave and you go back to your cell. I've done it 3 times. You cannot escape it. You can't run away. You cannot disappear like this guy said. And you sure as hell can't go do it if you have a trafficking charge with $100,000 bail just because of what he explained. They're afraid you're going to get away and run. They think you're going to try to.
I think he made his point very clearly. And you know what? I think I agree with most everything that he said. You know, when it comes to trials, courts, jails, prisons, I mean, he would definitely know what he's talking about, wouldn't he? So then explain this one to me. Okay, now this is one of about 6 different articles on that person I brought up in my video the other day that, by the way, once again, say it 100 times, if you watched all my videos, you would know I've never, ever considered Demetrius and Emma a suspect in anything. Demetrius was pimping out his girlfriend. He's a low-level thug, could not possibly be involved in high-level volume drug trafficking operations like I've been discussing. And the individuals that I brought up are real. And here is the news clipping from his furloughed warrant that was issued. And let's read through this thing. All right, I'm going to let you read through it for a minute, but if you're not able to read it, I'll understand. Don't worry. When I'm done, I'll read it to you.
And if you can't see it, he will read it to you here in just a minute.
Okay, if you wasn't able to read that, that's okay. Let's go ahead and read it now. What it said was, just a second here, Latah County. And this was back on October the 21st. See, October the 21st. Now, this thing ain't cooperating with me here very well. October 21st, 2022. An arrest warrant has been issued for a suspected local MTH trafficker after he failed to go back to jail after being released. We're not going to mention this gentleman's name. 43-year-old is charged with multiple narcotics charges in Latah County, 2nd District, including drug trafficking, felony MTH trafficking. Farley was temporarily released from jail. Was temporarily released from jail by Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall on a furlough. Explain that to me, AR. Explain the furlough system to me, please. Could you go back and explain it to me again? I don't know how those things work. So he could visit a family member who was deathly ill. A furlough to visit a family member who was deathly ill, not a furlough to go to a funeral, but a furlough to visit a family member who was deathly ill. A furlough. God, that's just, from what you said, I can't believe the newspapers anymore. Blank never returned to jail and has missed multiple court hearings. A felony arrest warrant with no bond has been issued for this gentleman. It's valid in Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Montana. Ooh. How did they get all 4 states involved in that? That's weird. I tell you, it's crazy. That's another felony this guy had. So I had that felony on top of all his other felonies, and he's charged. He got a year. He got a year in the penitentiary. But he didn't do that year. Blank was arrested by Moscow police in mid-September when he was found, yada, 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 yada. So here's my point. Either
when you have auto glass damage, trust SafeLight. And one easy appointment, we can replace.
AR Hayes is dumb, which I don't believe he is, or everything he said in that little true crime cult podcast is correct. So if everything you said is correct and you just read that news story, Mr. Hayes, then why don't you help me understand what it is that I'm seeing there? How, if you're right, is all that possible? I don't know. Man, there must be something else going on. There must be something else involved. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I do know that when y'all like and subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. When y'all comment on my channel, I really appreciate it, especially the comments that disagree or negative comments. I mean, I really appreciate all those. I appreciate negative comments from people like AR Hayes. I like AR. Like you, dude. But going forward, I'm going to do another video because I believe that I know a lot of my subscribers out there are right there with me on everything. They understand. Some of y'all almost understand. You get it, but there's still a few things you don't get, and I can appreciate that. Some of you aren't quite there yet, and some of you just can't get your mind wrapped around how this society is really organized. Okay, because there's normal society, but then there's a whole nother society out there that you're just not quite aware of, so it's hard for you to grasp my concepts on these. So what I'm going to continue to do is try to open your eyes and expand your horizons to the reality that's truly around you. So in my next video, I'm going to be educating you on a couple of things. What's truly going on around you in another realm of society. I'm going to put dollar figures to things when I say the words like volume, what I'm speaking of, so that when you see things, you can recognize true red flags. And I'm also going to be speaking on Mr. Koberger and how he plays his part in this. I may get that video out tonight. It might be in the morning. I don't know. I'm working on it, and I'll get it out to you as soon as I can. But for now, old Pavarotti is out.
I like that video.
Yeah.
I like the different takes on it.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
just because two people have a difference of opinion don't mean they don't get along. I like the difference of opinion.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, actually.
I think he truly does like AR. But I
Yeah.
also think that what he's saying, and this is my own opinion, I'm hoping Jay Embry does show up one night and AR is willing to show up, and we're trying to set that up to have a live with them,
Yeah,
both
we
of them.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love it. It's interesting because, like I was saying in chat, like the bigger picture of drugs is not the small picture. Like when it's a much larger picture, and he kind of digs into it in some other videos. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm ready for that new video to drop too.
I know, me too.
Because I
No.
mean, how many people that think that Koberger could actually be LE? I mean, seriously, do you even have that thought in your mind? I'm just curious.
Something. It's
Yeah.
I like you're saying, it's something. There's a little bit of confidence there that is not, it's something's going on.
I have not
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that human and organ harvesting trafficking. I'm not so sure about that. I haven't seen anything about that.
Like
I don't know
Mouse
about
just said.
organs.
Yeah, I don't even. Ooh.
Mouse said he is vague, being careful, but holy cow.
Yeah.
AR is
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I see AR's here. I haven't talked to him. Yeah, I don't know. He might be busy right now. So, AR, if you're wanting to come up, let us know. You're always welcome.
Yeah.
It's kind of a last minute deal, but thank you, Ashley. Ashley did tag Jay Embry in it, and he obviously did respond, which was great.
Yeah. It's pretty fun to have creators talking to us.
You free long enough to come up, AR? If not, I would. While we were watching this video, Rock, I did pull up an Unfiltered Lucky video that talks about the possible informant as well. If you want me to put that on, or if you want to wait.
No, that's great. I just went
Let's
to
do it.
look to make sure that Jay Embry had not dropped his new one yet. So
I know.
AR said AR said drop a link in a few minutes. I'll come up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just let us know when you're ready, buddy.
Let's check out Lucky.
Yeah. I feel lucky.
Yeah.
I just want to say Robert has a really good crew. I hope
Yeah.
everybody does at least give that thumbs up. It don't cost you anything.
Nah, y'all are great for sure.
Law enforcement already. Steve Gonsalves allegedly found this informant, and law enforcement stepped in and told Steve Gonsalves to stay away. So, how crucial is this informant to the Idaho 4 case? Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky. And today I want to talk a little bit about why we might think that there's an informant in this case. Now, a lot of us have believed from the very beginning that law enforcement had an informant that led them to Brian Koberger. In these leaked messages that were just released between Steve Gonsalves and a content creator, Steve Gonsalves mentions this informant. He claims that law enforcement was on to Brian Koberger because of this informant. Now, I can't confirm the source of these messages, so I'm going to say that they're not confirmed, but it's definitely something to think about. Many of us have felt that there was an informant in this case, or even possibly a co-defendant. And then Steve Gonsalves mentions an informant in his messages. So that's quite the coincidence. Now, I've always believed that there is an informant in this case. And one of the reasons that I've always believed that is because I feel like law enforcement had an indication the very first day that these crimes occurred. The University of Idaho issued a number of alerts on the day that these crimes occurred. Now, they issued an alert at 1 p.m., just 1 hour after 911 was called about these crimes. And that alert basically was informing the people on campus kind of a little bit about what was going on. Now, at just after 3 o'clock p.m., so 3 hours after 911 was called, the University of Idaho issues a shelter in place. So basically telling everybody on campus, stay inside. There's a dangerous situation happening in this area. But only 30 minutes later, the University of Idaho lifts that shelter in place and basically tells everybody on campus that they're free to move around. Just keep your eyes open. So that's kind of strange. Why lift the shelter in place only 3.5 hours after 911 was called when there's no suspect or no person of interest? Law enforcement didn't really know anything about what was going on because it had only been 3 hours since they arrived at the scene. Now, investigators are on scene, and Moscow Police Department has called out for help from state and federal agencies. Now, these investigators are working around the clock, and there's a lot of them. But who finds the grub truck footage, as well as the neighbors' footage from the King Road house? Olivia Gonsalves finds that information, not investigators. Olivia Gonsalves knew how important that it was to gather evidence as quickly as possible before it disappeared. Many security cameras roll over after 24 hours. People forget. And there's a lot of information that can be lost if it's not gathered quickly. And Olivia Gonsalves knew this, and she jumped on it immediately and began gathering information. Now, why didn't all of these investigators do the same thing? So how urgent were these investigators in the very beginning if Olivia Gonsalves is the one finding all of the big clues? There didn't seem to be a lot of urgency in this investigation. Now, when Chief Fry got in front of the microphone and reassured the community that there was no danger, when he reassured the people of this community that they were safe, this was an isolated attack, and either the individuals in the house or the house itself was the target. So nobody else is in danger. Well, when he said that, I automatically thought to myself, they have a suspect. They have someone in custody. Some would say that Chief Fry is a public figure, so it's his job to go in front of the public and reassure them that everything is okay so that they don't have panic, which that's a very good point and definitely a possibility. But I can definitely say that if there's a homicidal maniac or the possibility that there might be a homicidal maniac in my neighborhood, and law enforcement tells me that there's no danger in this community, but they don't have a suspect or have anybody in custody, then I'm going to have some questions. Because how do they know that there's no danger to the public unless they have eyes on a suspect or they have someone in custody? How does law enforcement know where the person or people who committed this crime are at unless they have eyes on them? How do they know that this person is not still in the community? How do they know?
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Know that this is the only house or that these are the only victims that this person or people who committed these crimes are targeting. It's very possible that this person may have more targets who were not in the house that night. So it seems strange that law enforcement would lead the public to believe that they were safe. Now, in the first week of December, only 3 weeks after these crimes occurred, Chief Fry pulls up to the crime scene at 1122 King Road, driving a U-Haul truck. Now, law enforcement proceeds to remove potential evidence from the King Road house and load it into this U-Haul truck. So that seems very strange to be removing potential evidence from an active crime scene and just loading it up in a U-Haul truck. This is meant to send a message, in my opinion. All of the media was there, so everyone saw law enforcement carrying these belongings out of the crime scene and loading them into this U-Haul truck. So in my opinion, this was a show of confidence by law enforcement, sending a message to let the community know that we have this. We have everything that we need. We don't even need this evidence any longer. So basically a show of confidence to the community from law enforcement, which is kind of strange because at this point, they still haven't announced that they have a suspect in custody or even a person of interest. Now, we know at this point that they did have eyes on Brian Koberger already at this point. The same day that they load up the victim's belongings and pack them into a U-Haul truck, they also make an announcement, and law enforcement asks the public for help in finding a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. They post a couple of stock photos, so they don't post any actual photos of this vehicle, but they post a couple of stock photos of 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantras, which of course floods their tip lines. Because who's not seeing a white Hyundai Elantra out there on the road? Now, why would they flood their own tip lines? We already know that when they asked the public for help in finding this white Hyundai, they already had found this white Hyundai. They already had eyes on Brian Koberger in the end of November. So when they ask for the public's help in locating this Hyundai, they already know the location of this Hyundai. So why would they ask for the public's help? Why would they ask for help finding a car that they've already found? It kind of seemed like they were just going through the motions. And a lot of us picked up on that. It's like watching someone search for something who secretly knows where it is already, but they go ahead and play along with it. Many tips went unanswered. Many leads were discounted. And many of the people who were with these victims right before they lost their lives were cleared of any involvement right away. One of them over a phone call, reportedly. So it almost appears as though law enforcement is going through the motions, but that they already have an answer. What would give law enforcement that type of confidence that early in the investigation? Someone who saw what happened. Maybe the individual who was taken to the hospital that morning. Maybe the 4 people who were seen running from the direction of the house at just after 3 a.m. on police body cam footage from the Banfield. Now, did investigators see that? Because I have a feeling that if investigators would have seen those 4 individuals in that footage running from the King Road house, I don't think that they would have released that body cam footage to the public. So how closely did investigators look at this body cam footage from the Banfield?
This is how I got rid of bed bugs for less than $40. I was honestly surprised when this worked for me because I had pretty.
Is it possible
Robert,
that maybe the DoorDash driver
Yes.
witnessed
can
something
you
at the
pause,
King?
please?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, AR.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Going good, going good.
It's good to see everybody. Got a good crowd in here, it looks like. Great chat. Everything's looking
Yeah.
nice.
You can tell the difference. We've been working hard.
No, you guys have. You guys are amazing. You guys all as a collaborative group are amazing. A lot of love for
You're
all of
part
you.
of it. We love you too.
Absolutely, we
Well,
love you.
you guys have earned all this. You guys have built this. I'm just humbled to be able to come and be a part of it and be able to talk with you guys and mingle. And you guys have earned through all of your hard work where you guys are at. So I'm very proud of all of you.
Thank you.
you so
We're
much,
proud of you
AR.
too. Yeah. Now, aren't you friends with this guy we got on the screen now?
I am Unfiltered Lucky. I call him Lucky. We talk behind the scenes, and let me tell you, this guy is a very genuine, very good person, hardworking. I mean, he's very busy, and he spends time out of his own time with me, which is amazing. And I'll tell you what, he's a good dude. I vouch for him. I go a long way with him, and he's very intelligent as well. So
I
I
like
got a
his
lot of
voice.
respect for this.
I like his
Yeah,
voice, and I
well,
can tell he's intelligent.
a lot of women reach out to, they reach out about how he's a hottie, is what everybody says.
We're
So
gonna have to calm Jamie down. We're gonna have to calm Jamie down.
I can't jump on the bandwagon and slap him on the butt like that. But he's a nice guy, and he's a good hard worker, very intelligent. I'm looking forward. Him and I are getting together this Tuesday. As everybody probably knows, I'm not trying to self promote, but I'm just kind of letting everybody know.
Tell us. We want to hear it. Tell us.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a big day with me. I'm going to be with Harsh Reality tomorrow for a good while, where we're going to even talk about our past, and we're going to mingle quite a bit. So if you could stop in for that live tomorrow. It's actually 6 p.m. Eastern time. It took me a while to figure out his time zone to get that set up. And look, I get it. He's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I still think it's going to be a great show. I think we're gonna discuss some things, and if we get into an argument, everybody would probably love to see that. So
It's worth watching. It's worth watching.
yeah, I have a firm belief, guys, across the board. I'm not engaging in any drama. Rock, you and I have talked about this.
For sure.
Robert, I've steered you in this very direction as well. No drama is the best way to do this. It's the best way to promote your own channel. We grow from what we learn. Everybody saw Jay Embry's video that came out in regards to me, and I did a video back in regards to him, and we're on a just fine, no drama page. We're good to go, everybody. We're good to go. So, you never know. If he agrees to it, I'll go live with him. I'll do a debate with the man. I don't hold back my words and I don't hide my feelings. So if he wants to come on board, let's discuss the Idaho 4 from two different perspectives. Look, I'm not gonna lie. He's Ali. He is law enforcement across.
All day long.
He's law enforcement. And that's great. That's no issue with me. If he's law enforcement, that just makes it even a better conversation because you've got a convict that did years upon years in the penitentiary discussing true crime with an officer that's actually somewhat respectable and willing to have a conversation rather than smash people. Let's do it. Let's have it. Let's have that. Yeah. And Robert, I'll do it right on your channel. I don't even need the accolades. I'll come right to your channel. We'll promote you, and we'll do it right here. And I'll be completely happy with that. So
We have put the feelers out. We tagged him tonight. It was kind of at the last minute when he dropped this last video. But thanks to Ashley, she originally tagged him on the last one, and he did respond, as you see. AR, I didn't, I see people in the comments acting like he was putting you down. I didn't take it that way. I take it as you guys have two different perspectives. But I also took it, and tell me if I'm wrong. I took it, we know Moscow as a no report town. I took it as, furloughs how you know it, and how he's saying is, but they're not doing them that way. They do no reports. Megan Marshall let this guy out. I didn't take it as you didn't know what you're talking about because we know you know what you're talking about. What I'm talking about is, in my opinion, I think he's saying Moscow just does their own thing. And that's how I took it. I didn't take it as bad to you at all. I really didn't.
No, and you know what? I went back after I did my video. I stopped his video because I had numerous messages today coming to me saying, you got to go look at this. And I'm like, all right, look, I've had a feeling in my mind because last time I was on this show, I said I was about ready to drop a video in regards to his video. And you know what? When my wife and I sat down, we decided to not put it out. We just said, no, we're not doing it. We're not going to do this. We're not going to go here. So I took a couple of days. I took a deep breath. And of course, today, all the messages came to me. And, I'm going to talk about somebody else after this, but we're going to J-Rod after this. We're going to talk about this gentleman first. And you know what? Before I even watched the video, I already had what I wanted to say within me. So I went ahead and I did my video first, which was literally the honest truth. I did not pay his videos enough attention to catch what he was saying. I deflected him off, and I think it's because I said, well, he's law enforcement, he's putting out this stuff. And instead of listening to it, I just went ahead and reacted. And I'm glad I didn't put out my video.
I'm glad too. And on the other side, my antennas went up and was really, I was listening to everything he said. I just love it how you sat back and you did go back and rewatch it. But I tuned into him too, and he's got my attention. I do find it strange that he's new. He's fairly new into the game here, but I still want to see you and him on the panel, like for sure.
I think what was for me and you know, I did it to him too, which he 100% called me out that I left him a message as well. And I totally had forgotten about that. Like I didn't even think about that, but I did. I even my wife looked at me and shook her head and said, "See, I told you it was going to catch up to you." And I was like, oh, damn. I even get nailed by the wife. You know what I mean? Here we go. But I was like, I didn't like the fact that he told me as if it was like confessional at the church. I need to go admit to everything I'd done. The thing about it is I've done so much time in the penitentiary. I've covered all my charges. I've covered everything I've ever done. And I'm not one that's ever going to hide or lie to anybody in regards to it. And it's okay that he called me out. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. And now, after seeing he actually gave me respect in his video today.
Yeah.
He even said he liked me. He gave me the utmost respect. This is the way right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way content creators should handle a difference of opinion.
Agreed.
This is where we should be. We don't need to tear each other apart. We just need to call out. Just say, hey, you made a mistake. This is what it is. And I agree with that. I did. I made a mistake. I didn't listen to the man. I didn't fully hear what he was saying. And I reacted. And then I even said I was going to put out a video and even more of a reaction. So that's all on me. That's all on me. That's not on him. That's on me. And that's why I did what I did today. I quickly put out a video. I was very sincere in what I had to say. If he's listening to this or anybody from his actual group, I hope that they let him know I'm actually absolutely sincere in what I said. He was in the right, I was in the wrong. However, there are differences in furloughs. There are differences in opinions. So when I say I feel like he's in the right, that doesn't mean I agree with everything he says. That's the difference. And I'm willing to debate with him. And Robert, I hope if it does happen, I hope you're willing to host it right here. And you could be the referee. You could do whatever you want to be. But
oh yeah, most definitely, AR.
It would absolutely be done.
That day.
I'll host it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll be going ding ding.
And it would absolutely be a respectful conversation. I feel like he would do the very same as so as I. I'm not calling him out like in a negative way. I'm just saying, hey, you know what? Let's do something special that not many have been able to do. Let's put a law enforcement agency that obviously this man has some intelligence to him. He really does. He has investigative skills. He has good discussions. He's worthy. He's worthy to talk to. And look, you're also talking to a guy that served over 25 years in the penitentiary and has seen the complete opposite side of all of it. So if you put the two of us together, we have a conversation.
That's a banging show right there. That's a banging show.
That's one to listen to, right? Right, Rock? That's one to listen to. You know, because we could talk about things we don't agree about. We're going to have two different views. But at the end of the day, we're still going to do it respectfully. I feel like he would do it, and so would I. So I hope we can put that together. I'm putting it out there right now, just even my own self, for everybody. I would love to have that conversation. I would love to do it live, and I would love everybody to be able to comment, be a part of that, and ask questions. And I think it would be a great show. I think it would be very respectful, and it would be very interesting. So
that was the thing I was going to say. I think it would be very respectful on both sides. I really do.
And I put it out there. I'd be more than happy to do that. I would actually be very excited to do that because I think it would open a lot of eyes. I really do.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
But we sure are trying to set it up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I'm not always the grandest of doing that, but if you guys can get that set up, I'm all about. I'm sure he most likely on the inside would handle it very well and do very well with it as well. It doesn't even have to be a long deal. I think if you guys got an hour of that conversation, it would be amazing. I really do.
Yeah,
I think an
agreed.
hour of the, and I'll let him talk 45 minutes of it, and then, okay.
To be honest with
But
you, I think he wants your opinion too. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
don't see him coming in and taking over the show. Like I think he wants a good debate. There's nothing
I
wrong
think
with a
so
good
too.
debate.
Hey guys, I'm going to tell you right now, right before I came on live with you, he commented on my video on my page. So if you guys want to go over there after this live and read that,
What that
amazing guy, amazing comment. I give him utmost respect, and that's why I feel like him and we could literally make this happen and do amazing things. Just read
Yeah.
it for yourselves. I don't even have to read it. I don't have to do any speaking on his behalf. He did it himself, and it was absolutely amazing. I was touched by it, and I'm thankful for it. So
Yeah,
that's all I
that's
can say about
awesome.
that.
Hey,
So that's
he seems like he has class, even though hey, I don't think he's ex Ellie. I feel like he is still Ellie. But that's just my
I don't.
opinion. I
don't.
just get that
I think
opinion.
I feel like he's retired. I think he's out of it. I think he stepped out on his own. I think there's something that went down he didn't agree with, or something he felt the need that it was time to move on. And I can't speak for him, but that's just a feeling I have within me that something touched him in a manner that made him feel as though it was time to leave. That's all I can say. Like that's just
Could
the
be,
gist.
and we might never know.
That's no, and you know what? It's not my business to know, but I respect him in the sense that what a grown man. What
Mhm.
a respectful grown man. And Robert, you've shown it yourself, and I know it's because of the people you surround yourself with, and with this channel. Stay away from all of the drama. Just stay away
What
from it.
drama?
It's not worth it. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
not worth it. You know what? We don't need to speak upon it. We don't need to add to it. I don't even pay attention. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. And people were worried because I think they felt as though when this video came out, my emotional self would get tied to it and react. And I made sure that I did my video before I drank my glasses of wine.
That's always a good idea.
I wanted to make sure I got that out there before I did that. But no, he approached it like a real man would do. And Robert, your posts have done the very same. And everybody that's reached out to me has been the very same. Very appreciative of all of you. You guys are class acts. That's why we stand out above and beyond compared to many others. That's why
For sure.
people will actually follow and trust in how we're doing it is because we care about everything more so than the drama itself. I'm not engaging, guys. I'm not
Yeah.
engaged. If my subscribers go down to 1,000 because I'm not worthy of jumping into such things, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
At 1,000 subscribers, I'm still monetized, so it's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Robert, why is the link dropped?
Terry wanted to come
For
up.
Terry.
Because I thought
That's
that we
fine.
were gonna finish the Lucky, and then I thought we were gonna maybe watch AR's 12-minute video.
We are. I guess Terry had some information. Ashley asked me to drop the link.
No, and that's cool. Do you mind if I just finish kind of the upcoming of what we're doing here, and that way we can get the schedule out and I can drop the little promos worth. So Monday's Harsh. Tuesday I'm with Lucky. We're working on a series of videos that are going to be releasing through the week and into next week. We're excited about that. I know people, I think they're excited about Lucky and I kind of working together because we have the same personality, kind of same speed of what we do. And Lucky is very respectful, very honest, and he's a good dude. Like, I've gotten to know him behind the scenes, and I'm going to speak and vouch for him, which not many people hear me do. He is a very good person, very good person. So I'm excited about that. Murder Metal Mayhem and all of you guys know Pete, are going to be working. We're going to be live next week on Monday. I'm excited about that. This man is helping me in so many different ways. I don't know if you guys know, I'm writing 2 books as we speak. I've got a fictional book of true crime that involves not only the crime, a love story, and also prison time, based a lot off of my own story, but it's fictional. And I'm also writing the more personal, actual Albert story, which is real and true. So they're going to be free for everybody to read, as I'm going to release chapters through my Facebook page so everybody can read them. You don't have to pay for them. You don't have to support me financially to be able to read those. I mean, one day I'll publish them, and Pete's going to help me with that. He's also helping me get out a podcast, which my podcast, the direction I'm going is interviews with people that have served 20 years or more in the penitentiary and been released. I will also have inmates that are currently in prison that I'm able to get interviews with. So you never know. You might hear from Jodi Arias on my podcast, considering I've dealt with her and I kind of have a connection to her. So you never know what you might hear.
I'll
You
pass
said
on
she's
the
really
Jodi Arias.
talkative, right?
I'll pass on the Jodi Aries.
No,
That wouldn't be for me.
and just everybody. That's just like kind of a, like a haha. We'll throw that out there. But there are
You rode in the
actual
van with her,
criminals.
but yeah, there's no way I could do her, or nor could I do Casey Anthony. I couldn't do her either.
No, I can't either. But you know what? I would love to get into a heavy debate where I can get in an argument with Casey Anthony, because I would hold my own on that one. And let me tell you, any man that feels like he can lay a hand on a woman or abuse a child, let's go. Let's have a conversation. And let's do it in person. Let's do it in person if we can. But that's just my background. That's where I feel. So, but there's just so much going on. I give a lot of props, Robert. I got to give you props because, one, you've surrounded yourself with legitimate good people. I got to give you props with that. You had a lot of charisma and intelligence to do that, because you could have chosen, and I watched you back before the Rock Jock. I came in one of your midnight lives. I don't know what the hell you were doing, but I stopped in. I did. I stopped in, and I had to question myself for a minute. But now, with the team that you have, I think you're going to do very well. I think you're going to do very well.
One we watched.
It just was.
We love Robert. We do. Robert is so. Let me tell you this. Robert is so easy to work with, and when we pass ideas to him, he's always down to do it. Like, we love Robert. We really do.
Yeah.
And he's good at listening, and you don't take it wrong. You know what I mean? We're all here to help. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, I'm going to cut you off for a minute, and I'm going to say something directly to Robert. And I'm going to laugh for a minute. This is the, 5th glass of wine, but I'm going to say something. Robert, I love you too, man. I really do. You're a very genuine individual. I know you care. You got a big heart. Yeah. Just listen. That's all the advice I can give you is listen. You have good people that are talking to you. And they talk to me too, Robert. Now I listen every day. Rock Chalk, do I not listen?
You listen every time, and I listen to you too, my friend.
And guess what? Ashley N, right here in the chat. I listen to her. Jamie, I listen to you. Every single one of these individuals, Robert, that speak, I hear them. I hear them. Okay? And that's how we continue to grow and be successful. We listen. We don't always think that we know it all or speak. We listen and we move forward and we better ourselves. And Robert, from the first time I saw you until today, you were leaps and bounds better than you ever thought you would have been. Ever than what I thought you would have been myself. You were leaps and bounds growing, but keep listening. Don't shut the ears. Keep going forward. Because we make mistakes when we don't listen. I do it too. Look at me with Jay Embry. Look at me with Jay Embry. I did not listen to his videos. I spoke out of turn, and look at what happened. Right? I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Just listen. And it's okay to admit if you're wrong. If you're wrong, just admit it. It's okay. And then just keep going forward. And that's why you're going to continue to have an amazing crowd in your lives and on your channel that you do now. Okay? I'm just going to give you that advice, Robert. And if you listen to me, you're going to be banging, brother. You're going to be banging. You've already got a good amount of subscribers. You do.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going to tell you this. If you have individuals like the beautiful lady, Nenya, I hope I said that right, that's exploring the idea of maybe possibly doing a channel, support her, help her.
Well,
Get
it's
it out
Nina.
there.
Nina Kelly.
Nina, I'm sorry.
Nina.
Yeah, and she did do a video today. We also, I know AR, you're all about it too. You've talked to her actually a couple times. I told her when she's ready to do a live, let me know and we'll put it together. We'll help her. We're all down to help for sure.
Yeah.
And Nina, I 100% support you, and anything I can do to help, I'm all about it. I think everybody in here knows we're all about helping each other, and I'm a part of that. And I'll do anything I can to help you. All you gotta do is just let me know, and I'll be there, and I'll be there for you. Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I do like is it seems like we try to work around your schedule, AR, and you seem to work around ours, and it just works out really good. And we've got a lot of the same subs here that you've got, and it all works out great.
Yeah, and the shitty thing is, I have no schedule. Like, I can't figure out what I'm doing minute 1 to minute 2. I have no damn clue. But I appreciate you, and you don't have to always worry about my schedule because I conform and I work with all of you. If you guys are going live, I would never go live in the middle of your live. So don't worry about that. But also know my typical days for lives are Monday and Tuesday because my good wife is off and she knows how to run the computer. So that's what helps me. I have no idea outside of that. So.
And she's your eyes for the comments.
Yeah.
She is. Well, she runs the show. I just run my mouth.
Sounds like me. I just said that earlier. I just said that in the meeting. I said, okay, Ashley's good at this. Mike is good at that. Sophie's good at this. And I said, I'm good at running my mouth. I did say that.
That's about it. I'm good at get myself in trouble. That's about what it is.
Liz Kaspari, one of our new subscribers, she says, I've come here through Pavarotti.
Nice.
She probably saw his video. Yeah, that's awesome.
Glad to have you.
Yeah. You know what? And that's amazing. That's what it's all about. Why can content creators need to take a step back? And I've had to do it myself. I've got to pull back. I'm nothing special. All I am is a voice trying to project what I feel in regards to true crime and what my experiences in life are.
Yeah.
If we can all take a step back and work together, that's what makes it special. If we don't knock each other down or talk trash about each other, we all look better in the view of everybody. We're literally making ourselves through the drama and the discord of all of ourselves. We're actually below mainstream media right now. We're below mainstream media.
Yeah.
Whether we want to be or not, that's where we are. And we
Yeah,
do
it's
it
true.
to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. And we don't need to be doing it. And the false info that people are putting out there, like this guy that's going to Drip Drop right now. I have
Yeah,
so many people
we
emailing
don't
me
want
about
to.
this.
Yeah, let's not go
You
there.
know,
Like we.
no, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, people, we all have intelligence. You know what a actual photo lineup, a booking picture looks like? So come on, use common sense. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say. Use common sense.
Yeah.
It's okay to have your own opinion. It's great to have your own feelings. Just understand others have different feelings. And we all share how we feel. It's good. We're all good.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, awesome. I do want to see your video, but I see Terry. Is she in the back?
No, she dropped out.
She did make a comment in the back.
I talked to her. I was talking to her, and she said she wants help making a channel too. I'm down to help with that.
Yeah.
I do. Let's go ahead. Well, Terry, if she wants to come back up, she'll know it. Let's go ahead and finish watching. Are we going to finish watching? Lucky? I really want to see AR's video. Do you got a little bit of time, AR, to where we could get through this
Yeah,
and watch your video?
guys, I'm just hanging out with you guys. I'm just here.
Chilling with us and some wine.
Yeah, share that wine, pass it over.
Yeah.
Roadhouse that morning. The DoorDash driver showed up at the house at exactly the same time that law enforcement believes that these crimes began. Maybe the sixth roommate was at the house that night. We know that she was at the house the night before for a party. So how do we know that she didn't use this bedroom on the first level? There's also the possibility that there was an accomplice who maybe was injured while committing these crimes and had to go to the hospital. You know what they say? The first one to cooperate with law enforcement is the one who gets the best deal. Does law enforcement have someone who was cooperating with their investigation? Who do we know who may have picked up charges during that time, who may have been at the King Road house? Maybe Emma and Demetrius? They could have been at the house. So who would really benefit from cooperating and working with law enforcement? It's very possible that there was a victim who got away from the house that night. And maybe they're cooperating and working with law enforcement in this investigation. It's very possible that law enforcement is protecting this witness. It's also possible that if Brian Koberger did commit these crimes, that maybe he had an accomplice who got injured committing these crimes and was captured because they had to go to the hospital. That would put them in a pretty bad position and would definitely create a situation where they might cooperate with law enforcement with the agreement that they would be protected. Emma and Demetrius could definitely benefit from this by having their charges either reduced or dropped. And they could have definitely been at the King Road house. Maybe someone from the frat house who's being protected. I have a very, very strong feeling that these frat boys know exactly what happened in that house that night. Another indication that would make me believe that law enforcement had an informant from the very beginning is the fact that they demolished the crime scene. They demolished the King Road house, wiped it off the face of the earth, and buried it. So they didn't need that anymore. And they seemed very confident that they had everything that they need. So they no longer needed the crime scene anymore. So it's just been the way that law enforcement has handled this investigation that leads me to believe that they're getting inside information. It's almost as though they're just going through the motions, but they already know. Why would they do that? It's very possible that law enforcement has an informant that's giving them inside information, and they're going through the motions in order to protect this informant. Now, this could be, a victim who got away from the crime scene, or, as I said before, this could also be an accomplice. This could possibly be a co-defendant. Now, law enforcement would want to protect this person because it's very possible that their entire investigation depends on the information that they received from this informant. So tell me what you think. Do you think that there's an informant in this investigation that has been giving law enforcement information this entire time? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Terry, I dropped the link for you. Go ahead and click that link. What do you guys think?
I'm looking to see if she's a member of the Discord.
I would love to have Terry come up. I'd love to hear what she had to say. I'm sorry that I spoke too much, but I would love to have her come on up. And
Yeah, for sure. You didn't speak too much. I mean, you were invited here, so don't feel like you spoke too much. She'll come back up.
no, I just know I have a mouth, but sometimes I need to use my ears.
I don't want to say it's that. We don't mind having Terry up. But, we spend a lot of time sitting here trying to get a show together, and you were part of the show. But she's back up.
Hey,
I
Terry.
appreciate her. Yeah. I don't think she was upset. Terry, you wasn't upset, was you, hon?
Nuh-uh. She
I
wasn't
didn't think
upset.
so. Yeah.
She knows. We all know.
She's up here. Let's
Everybody
go,
wants
Terry.
to hear about it.
Let's go, Terry.
We all want everybody's opinion. It's better that way.
Oh, yeah.
Informed opinion.
You there, Terry?
Are you muted, Terry? Are you here?
She's not muted. I don't think.
All
Terry.
mute.
And I'm doing all I can to be quiet.
If only there was a button. If only there was a button to help.
Terry.
She don't look like she's muted. Do you happen to have YouTube on or something running in the background that maybe is? I know on my phone, if you have an iPhone, like on my iPhone, I have to literally shut off Bluetooth to be able to talk to you on my phone in StreamYard.
Yeah. Are you in Discord?
I have to be on a headset to be able to talk to you guys, to be honest with you. Otherwise, it echoes and it's all over the place. So,
Yeah, but we're getting no volume from her. Terry, if you could type in the back chat, maybe I can help you through it, hon. Because we are not hearing you.
Can you guys believe I have 87 emails right now just on the Jay Embry deal?
Oh, that's funny. Are any of them from Jay Embry?
I believe.
No.
I believe that some people thought that he was attacking you, and I didn't take it that way. I really
Yeah, me
did.
neither.
I didn't. I honestly didn't either. The minute that I went back and rewatched that, I mean, right off the bat, he told me he liked me, he respected me. He just didn't agree with the information I was speaking on, and that's fine. That's completely fine. That's
awesome,
what it's
actually.
about. Yeah, that's what it's about. We're supposed to discuss things, and him pointing out something that in Idaho law I was wrong about, I'm good. I'm glad he pointed that out because now I know. Now I know.
Yeah.
You know, no issue
Yeah.
there. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
no
while we're
kidding.
waiting on Terry, Terry, we can't hear you. If you want to type in back chat, I would be happy to try to help you where we can hear you. Because I'm getting nothing unless somebody else is hearing her.
No, you're
No,
not.
I
I'm
can't hear.
sad. I'm sad. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Robert, maybe you can look up AR's drop from today. I'd like to see it.
Okay.
What do you think, AR?
Yeah, I mean it's a
Oh,
heartfelt.
now we
It's a
got, wait a
true
minute, we
video.
got two Terrys. We got two Terrys
Okay, hold
now.
on.
What?
Hold on.
One Terry
It's
got to hang out.
twins. It's twins.
There you go. Can
Are
we
you
hear
there,
you,
Terry? Terry?
Now, if we
Weird.
play AR's video, please, everybody in the chat, please go watch it and like it. That's the only thing I don't like about playing videos when, because I want you to have the views.
Yeah.
I guess I could go
Uh,
watch it later. I could go watch it later.
no, I appreciate it. I know what you're saying to help me get in the algorithm and all that. But you know what? It's not even about that. This was a heartfelt,
I
actual
want to hear it.
message to this gentleman, and
It felt like
it
it.
done. I don't have to make money off of it. It's actually real. It's about what it is. So I appreciate you guys even playing it.
Randy, can I help her? Is
Here
there
we
any way I
go.
can help her? Let's play ARs while we're figuring it out. Yeah.
About our everyone's approved affordable payment.
Here we go.
Every single one of us as humans make mistakes. Sometimes we misread what somebody's actually saying, and when we react and speak for our own selves, we're actually wrong in the things that we say. Other times we allow emotions based off of something that we feel like is being said that's not actually what it means, and we allow our feelings to step in as we're responding, which actually leads us to say or write or comment or do things that we normally would not do. And at the end of the day, we internalize it, trying to find the best way just to apologize. I'm that very same human that makes the mistakes that many else are. I misread what somebody had to say. I even misread a video that they put out entirely, responded in regards to that video foolishly. And that's on me. That's my own mistake. It's not that person's mistake. And the great thing about it is I actually do like them. And through actually going back and watching some of their work, now I respect them even more. I'm A.R. Hayes. This is Convict's Thoughts. And I'm talking about Jay Embry. I mistook him when I first began somewhat watching his material. I can't say that I even really took it that seriously, and that's my own fault because I'm going to tell you right here, right now, as I've dove back in and opened my mind to actually listen and hear what the man has to say, boy, he's highly intelligent and he knows what he's talking about. When it comes down to the video that he did in regards to the informants of the Idaho 4, my foolishness didn't listen well enough to see what he was actually doing. Here I am stating how I'd love to be a critical thinker, and I'd like to dive in and really investigate. And the crazy thing about it is he laid it all out. And I was already on the Latah County jail roster looking at the very individuals he was talking about and the charges. But I didn't deep dive back to see their past. I was just looking at right here, right now. So it didn't make sense to me. So I foolishly, myself personally, made a reactionary discussion in regards to how I did not agree with some of the things he was saying. But how could I possibly have known whether I agreed or didn't agree or understood if I didn't even pay attention correctly in the first place? And that comes back again on me. Jay Embry broke down the scenario with actual facts in regards to people in the local area of Moscow, Idaho, that could very directly be considered informants in the Idaho 4 case. He nailed every point that he talked about, 100%. After going back, I watched a video in which he laid it all out of why he did that video, and it made so much sense to me when I actually listened and worked alongside him in the thought process and the digging. Wow, it made sense. It was actually coming together. So I definitely recommend, if you have not, jump over to Jay Embry's channel and go back and watch and thoroughly listen to the way he breaks down.
Becoming a hotshot EVE Online financier might not be for everyone, but the primary tool for interacting
certain things in regards to the case. Now, I do know he did a reactionary video in regards to me being unalive, and he has every right to do that. I began to watch it, but I wanted to stop because I felt as though I needed to state something that I had already planned on doing a video for, but this just kind of put the hot cookie back into my hands, that it was my move that I needed to make. And I didn't feel as though I needed to listen to that video, the reaction to me, as of yet, because I needed to actually lay out my honest, right here, right now, feelings prior to hearing the critique of me, which I deserve. I deserve it, heart and soul. I don't take anything that the man that he might say in my direction within that video as a negative. I take it as a critique, and I take it as a way to better myself. Him and I, we all have not always seen eye to eye, because I know that he is either ex-LE or current LE, and he knows of my past. So we've walked different walks of life. But that doesn't mean that we can't coincide and actually see eye to eye and work together on a way a case is working itself out, because we bring perspectives to the table that could bring both sides into view. Just by watching his last few videos and engaging in what he has to say, I can tell you he's good at what he did or does. He, like me, is very analytical. He finds pieces of information that not everybody does. I've got to respect that. I actually absolutely respect Jay Embry, and I get the statement that he made that kind of ruffled my feathers, and it was not a horrifically bad statement, that actually I need to confess to all the things that I've done in the criminal world to actually receive repentance for them. But I'm going to tell you that's a way that certain people look at that, and I have to respect that. I myself have owned up and taken responsibility for the things that I've personally done, and I've gone and done years upon years worth of penitentiary time for those crimes. I've also done time for crimes I didn't personally commit, but I knew what was going on from afar, and I took responsibility for those as well. This is the YouTube world. You can't hide from your past. You can't hide from the things that you've done in your life, whether you like it or not. They will be brought to the table and criticized. And that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Jay Embry and I have zero drama. None. It would probably be like somebody left a comment on my channel. It would probably be a very interesting discussion back and forth between the man and I. And I would actually like to do that. I think it would be very interesting. I think it would be eye-opening for many. And I know there's been other law enforcement people that have done YouTube channels, but I just couldn't see myself mingling with them because of the negativity that they bring to the table. We're not here to attack each other. We're not here to bring each other down. I actually believe Jay Embry's channel and my channel could do some very good in the community.
What happened?
I have no idea. Is that how bad my
No,
is that my
certainly not.
video
It's still good.
quality?
No,
We
it's
just
still going
stopped
on my
it. Like, this
TV.
is so awful. God, this guy.
Was that the end of your video?
No,
I don't
Rob
know.
paused it. Can we hear Terry now? Is that the thing? Ashley said something about maybe she was.
Terry
Yeah.
sent me something in the back chat and she wanted me to show it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are. I'm going to ask your help though at the very beginning. Okay, so Eric Gower was the private driver, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he? I can't remember. But he did pick them up that night, right?
Supposedly.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Supposedly. Yes. Go on.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty much, besides the people in the house, we don't know, was the last person. Okay. And I was listening to Nika's Peak today, and she was talking about this. So I pulled up his Facebook, and I'm like, oh my God, I found even way more than she found. But this guy is really strange. Is this the guy that has that one? And I couldn't find it, but remember he on his, I thought it was Facebook, but he had all those different weapons posted to it.
Yeah. It wasn't Facebook. It was maybe one of the other ones. I'm like, maybe you go ahead.
No, but I mean, basically, it was something that was like, I mean, like it was just a wall full of weird weapons and right, and knives and all that kind of machetes and the machete bat thing and whatever. Okay, so as you wait, if you pull that back up, can you pull the Facebook back up?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he said he went to Taco Bell and he had a receipt, correct? After he dropped the girls off? Well,
I think so.
Yeah, he did. And he dropped them off, what was it, like 1:56 or 58 in the morning? And she had called Taco Bell. They closed their outside drive-through at 2. How the heck did he fly to a Taco Bell in 2 minutes? Okay. And he said, and he has this receipt. That's just weird in itself. But I was going back because he's taken a lot off. Now, if you want to go down, if you can keep like scrolling down, Robert, I'll point out what.
Okay.
Okay. Scroll, go down to, keep going, and I'll stop you and keep going. You're going to see like a map when you get to it. Keep going. You'll see it.
Pretty mountain shot, though.
Yeah. Oh, go back. Go back for a second. Go back up. What was that? Okay. Look at that. It says Patty, and what's the next name? Murphy. Okay. Their dog's Murphy. Okay. He's got a paddle in his hand. And then if you go down just a little bit more, right there, it says, when I think of coming, I think of courage. This is right under.
That's Camia. It's a
Camia. But it's right
town.
under the Murphy thing, right? And he says,
it's probably
the
another
Cowardly Dog's house. Okay, that's a little bit strange. See it? The post? Keep going. It's gonna get stranger. Keep going. You're gonna find a map. Sorry. Keep going. We're coming to it. Where is it? God, and these are going back to like 2013. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Is this guy in the red shirt you're passing by? Is that him? Because he looks very young. They don't look like.
Well, these are old things.
Oh, okay.
It looks like he erased everything except from 2014, which is just odd. Okay, the whole thing. Right here.
Just yesterday.
Right here, if you look. Okay, keep going up just a little bit. What's the post underneath here? It's weird. It says, looks like they don't want us to leave Moscow. Okay, that's weird. But keep going. And I know these might just be nothing, but it's still weird.
That's a nothing burger for Idaho. He's just saying you can't drive through the mountain. You can't drive through the mountain pass right there because there's snow on the ground. You get caught in Moscow.
Okay, it's coming. Coming up, it's got to be.
No, there's a lot of fraternity references.
Okay, we're getting close. Well, keep going down, Robert, and stop at it'll be like a map, with like directions, coordinates, or whatever. It's coming up, but basically what it is, it's like one of those maps that has like coordinates. He has he has a picture in the corner of two girls hiking. Okay. And
what?
Yeah. He has a picture.
Scroll faster, Robert. It's a map.
Right
there it is.
Okay. Read his post for this. And then what this is in Idaho. And there's that picture right there. Is two girls hiking.
Dear Facebook, you make stalking someone too easy. It's kind of creepy.
Why does he have that up there? And why would he be plotting two girls on a? Well, I don't get that. That's just odd.
Where's the picture of the two girls?
Right here.
Where's the two girls? Oh,
right
two little girls.
Little picture. Yeah. Is it just me or is that odd?
First, then he puts it on the internet exactly where they are. That is odd.
Thank you.
But
I'm like, who does that?
Yeah, I don't know the context. What's the context? Is there some
I
Is there
can't tell you
a
anymore.
treasure hunt? Are they are they looking for these girls on a treasure hunt?
I know. I'm like, what would possess him? Does he even know these two girls? I mean, I have no idea. But but he's got them coordinated, or on telling them exactly where he is, or where they are rather, and they're by themselves hiking. You make stalking too easy. That's odd. And then he
Can
had
you
that.
zoom out on the map? I want to see the map. Zoom out.
Okay. What is this? Dora the Explorer. Same map. Same map.
Exactly. Ish. Whatever.
You see what was weird to me is this post right here. Dear Facebook, you make stalking someone too easy. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And then if you keep going down, I'm going to show you. There were two other things that I, excuse me, and keep in mind that he's erased everything up. And I mean, this is like, I think 2013 down. But you're going to find it's a mask, like a scary mask that just is weird.
Moscow, then on to Spokane.
Yeah. Oh, stop
Missing-
right there. Why
missing-
would he put that up there?
What is
In
that?
Oklahoma.
It's down. Yeah.
Missing
it's in
teen girl found, suspect killed.
Yeah, it's Idaho.
No, that's Oklahoma.
Oh, that is Oklahoma. Sorry. It doesn't matter. Why does he have that up there?
What's the context? Scroll. What's the title above that? What's he saying about it?
People are so smart these days, we don't even need schools anymore, LOL.
What? What does that have to do with that? And why is he posting that? Those are the main ones. There's another one of a really scary clown mask, which I thought that was a bit odd too.
Well, this is weird. Wait. Go back to the comment there. Scroll back up. The comment underneath that thing makes the comment that it is Idaho. So what does that mean?
That's what I was
Way to
saying.
go, CNN. Where is Idaho? Not in Oklahoma.
Oh, so maybe the actual episode of CNN was saying Idaho while the media person was off on states or something.
Yeah.
Even if they were, that's weird. I mean, I kind of showed you what I saw, but I mean, I think the two main things, I mean, how could he have, or, for Nika to say, why would, I mean, she called Taco Bell. They close at 2. He dropped them off at like 1:56 or 1:58. And why is he driving at 2 a.m, driving girls? Does he not work in the morning? And what was the other thing? His wife works for Moscow police. I don't know. He drives a white truck or a truck. I thought it was white, but I can't remember. But anyway, bottom line is, I think between the missing girl found and then the two girls hiking with coordinates is just, and then the saying it's stalking is too easy. It's just weird. And then I couldn't find the picture of all the different weapons he has, but yikes. And
it wasn't Facebook. I think it was Instagram. Maybe it's his Instagram account. It wasn't Facebook.
Okay. I mean, I hope that you understand. I hope you agree with me that what I'm showing you is very strange.
Well, he's kind of creepy, for sure. I can agree with you there. He's definitely kind of creepy. I mean, I guess I'm more of I need bigger context sometimes. So I'm like, I want to keep following it and reading more and seeing all his little things. It sounds intriguing.
Do you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's all just not important, but I think anything that we find,
it's all important, Terry.
Yeah.
Go away, Rain. I need money.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't read all his posts, but I'm sure there's some eerie
Right
ones
here.
in there.
Snitch not recommended.
What? See what I'm saying? I didn't read everything, but the things he's putting on his Facebook is absolutely scary and eerie. I didn't see that one about Snitch. Yikes.
I'm not finding the mask.
Yeah, well, if you keep going, it'll go. But whether you find it or not, I mean, people can look it up. But it's just, I mean, it's a rubber mask. He's like, oh,
Right
cement.
there.
There it is, right there. I mean,
A few staples, some rubber cement, and a little creative thinking later, it lives.
I mean, isn't that weird and creepy? I don't know. I just wanted to get this the panels, or this channel's thoughts.
I don't know what to think because I do think it's weird. I do think it's super strange. The strangest thing to me about the whole thing, and that mask is kind of creepy, but I'm kind of into creepy, weird stuff, so whatever. But the the thing that is the strangest to me would be where he commented, or whoever commented, that he just like dropped the girls off and drove off real fast. That to me was weird. That's the weirdest thing about that exchange. Like, what? You're the last person to see him, and you just like dropped him off and took off. Like, that
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah. And he said that, if I recall, I can't remember who said that, but if I recall correctly, he dropped them off, not in the driveway so much. He may have pulled, or he did the I think it was Lana's.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this live up tonight, guys. We've gone like 30 minutes over our allotted time. We'll have you back up tomorrow night, Terry, if you want to come back tomorrow night and finish.
Oh, I'm done on that. No, thank you. I mean, I appreciate it. I don't have to look at mask again. But what I'm trying to say is, I mean, if anybody wants to pull up his email or his Facebook, go read his posts and stuff. But
interesting. Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, how did
it's
he
weird
make
that he has it
up?
open in the first place? Like,
That
why
he
wouldn't
what?
you just? It's weird that he has it open public in the first place.
Well, yeah.
In my opinion. That's just my opinion. Like, if I was a public figure, I don't have my thing open to the public. Or a public known person or something.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I'm sorry, but I did think that it was all so bizarre that I wanted to get your thoughts on those.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. We're going to wrap this up tonight.
Okay.
Why don't you and Sophie stick around until after the live, and we'll discuss a few things.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. I don't know if we're going to do live tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to do live tomorrow night or Wednesday night. But remember, make sure you hit that bell notification for new uploads, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And we out.